How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel and time for more of my year in review. Last time we had a look at the best movies of 2021, but now with 2021 in firmly our rearview mirror, let's look forward to what is to come in 2022. Now, I did say in my best movies of 2021 video that I was also going to do my worst movies of 2021, but I thought about it and I'm like, when it comes to seeing in a new year, it's usually a case of you're celebrating what's been and you're looking forward to the year that is about to be. And I just didn't really feel like dedicating an entire video to crapping on 10 films. I do have a worst movies of 2021 list, and I have shared said list over on my Twitter, so if you do want to go and check it out, feel free to go and look over on my Twitter feed. But yeah, I just didn't really feel like putting together an entire video this year. But moving on, 2022 has a stacked film calendar, so long as we don't get hit by the dreaded delays again. And as usual, I couldn't condense it down to 10, so here we are with 20. Also, the films on this list are currently scheduled for a UK release in 2022. A film such as Babylon, which is Damien Chazelle's new film, is at the moment scheduled for release in the early months of 2023 over here. So, won't be featured on this list, but could very likely pop up next year. And as always, even with 20 spots, there are still some honourable mentions. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. I don't care what anyone thinks, this sounds great. John Mulaney and Andy Samberg voicing Chip 'n Dale in a live-action animation hybrid directed by one of the members of The Lonely Island. Sign me the hell up. Elvis. Baz Luhrmann has a tendency to be hit or miss, but I think this biopic of the king of rock and roll is in secure hands. I'm expecting a visual extravaganza and hopefully a strong central performance from Austin Butler. Knives Out 2. Rian Johnson and Daniel Craig are back with yet another murder mystery with yet another star-studded cast. There's not much else to add, really. It should be a blast. And finally, Killers of the Flower Moon. I'm not too familiar with the plot itself, but the film has me purely sold on Scorsese, DiCaprio, and De Niro. I literally don't need to say any more. And so, landing in at number 20 is The Fableman. Back in 2021, Steven Spielberg gave us his long-time passion project of finally working on a musical with the phenomenal retelling of West Side Story. But in 2022, Spielberg takes on a new passion, bringing to life a take on his childhood. I'm not entirely sure what to expect, but with Spielberg at the helm, you know that the end result is going to be pretty damn magical. Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. Contrary to what some may say, I didn't hate Crimes of Grindelwald. Do I think it was the most exciting entry into the Wizarding world? No, but what I really enjoyed is the continual expansion of this lore. So if Secrets of Dumbledore can continue that, as well as deliver on the magic we've come to know and love, then I will be a very happy and content Slytherin. Also, I'm very interested to see what Mads Mikkelsen now brings to the character of Gurlitt Grindelwald. In at number 18 is an action film titled Bullet Train. David Leitch is a terrific action director who has continuously brought audiences the most exciting, electric, and explosive action blockbusters in years. Bullet Train sounds like it could be exactly that, and maybe even more. For starters, it has an amazing cast: Brad Pitt, Sandra Bullock, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Zazie Beetz, and Michael Shannon, just to name a few. Then throw in the concept of assassins being flung together on a high-speed train trying to piece a mystery together. Yeah, this should be fun. At number 17, we have Don't Worry Darling. Olivia Wilde came flying into the directing scene in 2018 with the amazing Booksmart. Now with Don't Worry Darling, she's changing tone drastically from comedy to what sounds like an intense psychological thriller. All that I'm roughly aware of is that Florence Pugh plays a woman who starts a relationship with Harry Styles' character, but soon finds herself being almost indoctrinated into some sort of cult. Everyone involved is currently working at the top of their game, so let's hope that the film reflects that. Swinging into number 16 is Uncharted. This appeared on my list last year, but faced a delay, so here it is back for round 2. Video game adaptations do not have the best of luck, and realistically, do I think Uncharted will be one of the best films of 2022 in terms of quality? More than likely not. But in terms of what I've seen already, Sony looks like they've got an exciting adventure on their hands, and that's a genre I will always get invested in. Plus, Tom Holland is the biggest movie star on the planet right now, so that's a plus too. Coming in at slightly lower than I think some people might have anticipated is The Flash. Truthfully, yeah, I thought that this film would have ranked higher on this list, especially seeing as the film is rumoured to be dealing with the Flashpoint storyline, as well as introducing Supergirl into the DCEU, and also bringing Michael Keaton back as Batman. And that all does sound pretty freaking cool, and director Andy Muschietti is sure to inject a whole bunch of fun into the proceedings, but the reason why The Flash isn't any higher on this list is just because I don't know what the current state of the DCEU is. And my main concern is that this film is existing to patch up some cracks, rather than deliver a wholly engrossing and epic story. So hopefully, I'm proven wrong. Punching its way into number 14 is Creed 3. Creeds 1 and 2 have landed on my best of the year list for when they were released, so logic would dictate that Creed 3 may follow in the same suit. Michael B. Jordan is returning as Adonis Creed, but is also stepping behind the camera for this third installment of the Creed series. Probably the biggest hurdle this will face is moving on from the Rocky legacy, seeing as Sylvester Stallone has confirmed that the Italian Stallion will not be returning for this one. However, with Jonathan Majors joining the cast, exciting things appear to be on the horizon. Plus, I'm a sucker for a boxing film. Thundering its way into number 13 is Black Adam. 10 years ago, I would have told you that there was not a hope in hell that a solo Black Adam film would work. Funnily enough, it is around 10 years ago that a Dwayne Johnson-led Black Adam project was first discussed. Dwayne Johnson has been grafting like a madman to get this off the floor. And finally, in 2022, it should hit cinemas. Black Adam is typically a villain, and in this film, I don't think they're necessarily going to make him a hero, but he's going to be certainly ruthless. The footage we've seen so far definitely gives off that impression, and with the inclusion of characters like Dr. Fate, Black Adam has the potential, like Dwayne Johnson has said again and again, to change the hierarchy of the DC universe forever. Coming in at number 12 is Mission Impossible 7. Again, another film that rocked up on last year's list, but Tom Cruise decided that 2021 didn't matter to him and shifted everything over a year. The Mission Impossible series has quickly become one of the best action franchises Hollywood has to offer. Admittedly, the first 2 films were a tad rocky, but 3 kicked everything into high gear, and once Christopher McQuarrie got his hands on the series, Rogue Nation and Fallout have proven to be the pinnacle of action filmmaking. Little is known about the 7th entry besides that Cruise is flinging himself off a mountain whilst on a bike and then parachuting off, as well as fighting atop a train. Why not? In at number 11 is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Given the passing of Chadwick Boseman in 2020, this was going to be a tough film to make and eventually watch. Reports clarify that T'Challa will not be replaced and that another character will take on the Black Panther mantle. It could be Shuri, it could be a returning Killmonger, that remains to be seen, but putting that aspect aside, Ryan Coogler in his last MCU outing with the first Black Panther gave us one of the best films of the series, so I imagine he'll be pulling out all the stops yet again this year. And so now we reach my top 10, and in at number 10 is a film 95 million years in the making. Again, it's of course Jurassic World Dominion. The first Jurassic Park is one of the greatest films of all time. The 2 immediate sequels, very average. The first Jurassic World I thought was such a fun blockbuster, but Fallen Kingdom had good ideas, just didn't come together as a whole for me. However, Fallen Kingdom finally unleashed the dinosaurs into our world, and Dominion is going to carry on where that left off. I'm a simple guy. Throw some dinosaurs at my face and I'll be entertained. However, Dominion could be extra special, because not only are OG cast members Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum returning to help Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, but they are going to be starring in very prominent roles. I, for one, will be their opening day. Flying into the number 9 spot is a film that, hopefully it comes out this year? Wow, we've been waiting years. It's Top Gun Maverick. Please just release this bloody film. I feel like I've been waiting for Top Gun Maverick for eons now. I'm still unbelievably excited for it. Tom Cruise is operating on another level nowadays, and I don't think he'd want to come back to this property unless he had something special planned. The trailers, well, they haven't changed since last year, but the real practical flying it looks unbelievable. I'm interested to see where they take the character of Maverick this time round, and for the love of God, can Kenny Rogers' Danger Zone just feature at least once? Number 8 is one of Pixar's new and upcoming films, Lightyear. Shortly after the release of Toy Story 4, Pixar announced that they no longer plan to do any more sequels to any of their feature films, so hearing the title Lightyear might confuse you. But here's the neat little twist. Lightyear isn't centered on the toy, it's actually poised to be a huge sci-fi adventure based on the character that the toy of Buzz Lightyear was supposed to be inspired by. Pixar are known for huge and daring concepts, so I'm really intrigued to see what they have in store here. If the trailer is anything to go by, we can expect state-of-the-art animation, which is becoming scarily lifelike, a rip-roaring space epic, and hopefully that trademark Pixar magic. Coming in at number 7, like I mentioned with Top Gun, is this film actually going to come out? Maybe. It's Avatar 2. Now, I won't be convinced that this film exists until I'm in the cinema and the film actually starts playing. It will have been 13 years since the first Avatar was released. What I hear many of you ask is the point. Well, have you ever heard of money? But also, regardless of the wait, the first Avatar was an event, and a thumping good one too. The special effects were insane and still look absolutely magnificent, and if this and subsequent sequels give us the chance to explore Pandora even more, then I see that as an absolute win. All I'm hoping is that James Cameron really can make the wait worth it. In at number 6, Nope. That's what it's called. Nope. I know nothing about Nope, and I don't want to. All I do know is that it's Jordan Peele's newest film, and both Get Out and Us were horror masterpieces and will stand the test of time as 2 future cinematic classics. Peele reunites with Daniel Kaluuya alongside Keke Palmer, Stephen Yeun, Jesse Plemons. I don't need anything else. Take my money. I'm sold. Now we reach my top 5, and the number 5 goes to The Northmen. If you haven't seen the trailer for The Northmen, stop this video, watch the trailer, and then come on back to watch the rest of this video. It's honestly one of the most badass trailers I've ever seen, but of course, what makes things even better is that the visionary Robert Eggers is in charge. Director of The Witch and The Lighthouse, we are sure to get a twisted, captivating Nordic treat with a brilliant cast to match to. It does share many similarities with The Lion King in terms of story, but hey, if Eggers sticks the landing, this could easily wind up in my best of the year. Crashing into number 4 is Thor: Love and Thunder. When Taika Waititi directed Thor Ragnarok, it changed the game completely. Waititi took the character of Thor and made him an immediate household favourite, as opposed to Shakespeare in the Park. Ragnarok had everything you could want in an MCU movie. Perfect action, perfect humour, it moves at a rate of knots, and it's probably one of the most rewatchable of the whole series. And now, Waititi and the gang are back for Thor 4. This time, it seems like the Guardians of the Galaxy are in tow, which promises even more hijinks. Christian Bale will play Gore the God Butcher, and Natalie Portman is back as Jane Foster, who this time round will take on the powers of Thor as well, just like in the comics. I have no doubt that Thor Love and Thunder will be an unforgettable addition to the MCU. Now we reach my top 3, and believe me, these top 3, I'm not just excited for these films, I am chomping at the bit. I cannot physically wait to see any of these 3 films. But in at number 3 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. I think you'd be hard-pushed to find anyone who didn't think that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. It perfectly captured exactly what you'd want of the ethos of Spider-Man. The animation was game-changing, it just literally ticked every single box imaginable. But as the post-credit scene hinted at, Spider-Man 2099 is coming to play. We already know the animators had a field day putting this together, and if the teaser is anything to go by, they are really pushing the limits with different styles of animation swirling together. But most interestingly of all is that title. Not necessarily the whole Across the Spider-Verse thing, although it does possibly hint at lots of multiversal fun, but the Part 1, I think, suggests that Sony have a much larger story at play here, one of potentially epic proportions, and I for one can't wait to see what it holds. Just missing out on the top spot, in number 2, is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Mild spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home here, it's just a warning. We almost saw the multiverse get fractured, but Strange and Spidey did manage to save the day. Or so we thought. Multiverse of Madness was initially billed as the MCU's first attempt at horror, which a massive tick in my box. Then, Scott Derrickson sadly left the project, but was soon replaced by Sam Raimi, making a triumphant return to the comic book movie world, having previously directed the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy, but also being a horror legend in his own right. But then we also have to factor in the ramifications of everything that has been basically building to this. Wanda is returning, although I hear she may play more of a villainous role, using the multiverse for her own needs. Then you have whatever the hell is going on with Loki and Kang, possibly maybe coming into play. In the teaser, we saw a second Doctor Strange, which looks a heck of a lot like the Doctor Strange from the What If show, and I have it on pretty good authority that there are going to be a boatload of cameos and huge reveals as well, destined to drive fans wild. If they pull this off, Marvel will be unstoppable. And so in at number 1, I mean, really, this should come as no surprise. It's Sonic the Hedgehog 2. No. No, it's not. No. No. My number 1 is, of course, The Batman. I think this was a pretty easy one to guess, being at the top of my list. I think it's on top of most people's lists too. This is a Batman movie I have been wanting ever since I really understood the character. The Batman is going to be a full-blown detective story. Batman is obviously going to kick a ridiculous amount of ass in what looks to be in brutal fashion as well, but what I feel like we've missed from all the live-action Batman films is an underlying detective story of who is supposed to be the world's greatest detective to take it on. And who better to give Robert Pattinson his first test as Batman than the Riddler, who will be played by Paul Dano. What they've done with Riddler here looks absolutely terrifying, causing havoc and terror across the grimy and hopeless streets of Gotham. Colin Farrell looks unrecognizable as the Penguin, and Zoe Kravitz could very well steal the movie as Catwoman. The action looks gritty, unclean, and shockingly violent, so I hope the film isn't afraid to lean into a slightly more mature approach. But at the end of the day, it's Batman. Matt Reeves did a phenomenal job with his Planet of the Apes films, and he looks like he smashed it clean out of the park with The Batman, my most anticipated movie of 2022. So there we are. Those are my most anticipated films of 2022, but those are just my opinions. What are some of yours? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. But that is all we have time for today. Thank you very much for watching. Happy New Year to you all, and I will see you in the next video. Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button, and if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.